Hello, my name is Caleb Phillips, and my presentation is on the effect of different protesting methods on policy changes. So, the problem is that people want to bring about change, and protests are a main method of doing so. But many of these protests fail. Only about 40% are even acknowledged by the groups that are being protested against, and only 30% seem to even have any sort of impact. This leads to people using riots and other methods of violence as a way to get their point across, which just creates a lot more problems for everyone. The potential solution is finding the best method that doesn't involve violence and that can still bring change in a society. The research question is, what is the most effective method of protesting in terms of causing policy changes? This is the experimental design diagram. The independent variable is the type of protest. The dependent variable is the effectiveness, which is measured on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being least effective, 5 being the most effective. Uh, and the hypothesis is that petitioning and marching will be the most effective. It's the most peaceful, so people with a moral code will support it. It's easiest to support, so people who are a little more lazy or maybe don't want to put in a lot of effort can do it. And organizations tend to compromise with those who peacefully protest more often. There are only a few materials used: a computer for using random number generator, data graphing and documenting, and statistical analysis, a random number generator, and the effectiveness scale. The method was selecting 20 protests from each category, determining their rank on the effectiveness scale, then randomly assigning each protest number 1 to 20 per type, using random number generators to select 10 of them per type, taking the sum of their effectiveness values as one data point, and repeating this for 10 trials. So this is the table of the sums. So as you can see, the bottom row shows the highest sums per type. So in trial 1, 29 is the highest number, so it gets a tally at the bottom. For trial 3, you can see two types have the same value, and this means that they both get a tally. The minimum value could be 10, the maximum value is 50. These are the statistics. They're within about 1.3 of each other, showing a symmetrical distribution, and the data points are somewhat accurate. This is the X-squared test of independence. As you can see, peaceful protests seem to have more of a 5, which is the highest rank on the effectiveness scale, and many protests fell into the 2, which means that they didn't really bring about any sort of change. This test resulted in an X-squared value of 10.1872 and a p-value of 0.251. So the hypothesis was supported. Petitioning and marching did bring about the most changes out of the 3. The p-value of 0.251 was greater than the alpha value of 0.01, so this chi-squared test showed a significant relationship between the effectiveness of petitioning and marching and the type of change that was initiated. Prior research did study this topic, such as Harvard, the World, Northeastern EDU. These are all organizations that went over this. They had similar results, with petitioning being the most effective, but their sample size was small, which makes it prone to bias. My project had some potential errors as well. The initial protest selection was done completely by me, so I could have had my own bias even though I tried to avoid it. And the scale was created by me. The effective scale was created by me, so it could also cause some issues. There are some procedural improvements, such as not reusing protest examples because of the nature of a random number generator. I reused examples, so using all of the data points would probably be better. Incorporating more types of protests, such as more specific details in peaceful protests, and a more specific scale that doesn't just go from 1 to 5. Future directions of research could go into more narrow categories, such as petitioning versus marching, changing the organization type, such as state versus national government. I'd like to acknowledge Dr. Michelle Wyatt, Mrs. Lindsay Rega, Spring Valley High School, and my family, and these are my references.